Of the many jobs an FDA commissioner takes on in the course of a single day, week, or month, I've decided that there are two roles, perhaps a bit unexpected, but that I must take on and fulfill in order for the FDA to overcome the challenges ahead and perform its mission of protecting the public health in a manner equal to the expectations that we all hold. And those roles are advocate and zealot. First and foremost, I'll be a vocal advocate for the FDA and its unique and critical mission. Given how vast and complex the nature of the regulatory mission we must accomplish each and every day is, I know that this agency has been underfunded and underfunded for far too long. We must reverse that trend. And as FDA Commissioner, I'll work hard every day to secure the resources that FDA needs to perform its critical mission of promoting and protecting the health of the American people. In order to deliver the promise of scientific discovery to patients and consumers, I've found that I'm increasingly becoming a zealot for the advancement of regulatory science. As a science-based, science-led regulatory agency, the FDA must respond to the extraordinary advances in new science and technology, which offer great new opportunities, but also challenge our capacity for research, development, and regulatory processes. As we endeavor to translate the great promise of the new science and technology into real-world products for those who need them, it's essential that we have a regulatory agency that is scientifically robust and trusted by the policymakers and by the American people. We must be able to understand and respond to the full range of innovative products that will come before us, and we must leverage advances in science and technology to ensure that our regulatory systems are as effective and efficient as they possibly can be. We cannot afford to have a robust investment in fundamental biomedical research and discovery, but only a scrawny counterpart investment in regulatory science and in the FDA's regulatory capacity. Imagine a rower that has one enormous muscular right arm and a scrawny atrophied left arm. It would not be a surprise that that boat will then go in circles. But we need forward progress. Our efforts will be seriously compromised if we don't significantly increase the sophistication of our regulatory science, and do it soon. In these, the early days of the genomic age, we're trying to adapt our thinking, our regulatory system, our models of drug development, research, clinical trials, and the very way we look at, gather, and analyze data to a new reality. Consider the task of FDA reviewers who must evaluate scientific data to determine whether an investigational new drug is safe and effective for its intended use. Making this decision has always involved striking a delicate balance. Erring on one side may mean exposing patients to an unacceptably high risk of adverse events. Erring on the other side may mean depriving patients of a therapy that they really need for a condition which may cause pain, debilitation, or death. These kinds of decisions require advanced training in medicine, science, and related fields. They also require skill, depth of experience, and also some traits that aren't always identified as essential requirements for government service, but are pretty key: wisdom, common sense, and ultimately good judgment. But the application of genomics to the field of clinical pharmacology, pharmacogenomics, means that we can put more science and certainty into the regulatory process for reviewing and approving new drugs and biologics. Perhaps even more important, and this is critical to all of us who care deeply about protecting the public from harm, is the ability to identify those patients most likely to suffer a severe adverse reaction to a new drug before it reaches the market. In order for the FDA to build on the promise that personalized medicine holds for new and better therapies, in order to better calibrate the risk-benefit for drugs already on the market, the FDA must take a more holistic approach to its role in the process. For medical products that result in the application of personalized medicine, In addition to the roles of reviewer and regulator, FDA must also serve as catalyst for innovation. This involves, among other things, increased outreach and collaboration with industry, academia, and our government research colleagues. For example, FDA's Center for Drug Evaluation recognized early on that in order for companies to make a serious investment in genomics, they had to believe that FDA was serious about the science and learning how to incorporate it into medical product review processes. In 2003, actually, the center established a voluntary data exchange program and asked companies to voluntarily submit to the agency genomic data which they'd collected in the drug development process. To be honest, it was a very slow start. Companies had many understandable concerns about submitting additional data to the FDA outside of an official drug review. They were afraid that the agency might act prematurely on data, create more work for the companies, or create obstacles to drug development. It took years for the agency to allay these fears. But today, FDA's voluntary data exchange program has dozens of submissions from developer companies, and there have been several meetings that enable FDA reviewers to learn about the technology in order to understand how best to apply it in the review process, while enabling developer companies to gain critical feedback from reviewers about how to structure the data in new drug applications. These voluntary submissions are now moving into actual new drug applications so that advances in genomics can be utilized in new therapies. For the agency, genomics represents a challenge as well as a unique opportunity to integrate some key review functions. As most of you probably know, within the FDA, there's one center that evaluates drugs and another one that evaluates devices. As determined by statute, the regulatory approach to granting pre-market approval for drugs and biologics is different from the one which applies to medical devices. But personalized medicine in the treatment of disease requires the integration of drugs and diagnostics. As Commissioner, it's clear to me that we need to develop a consistent, comprehensive, and integrated approach to the evaluation and regulation of medical products, which separately and in combination comprise the practice of personalized medicine. We know for developers to make a substantial investment in this still evolving arena, they need clear guidelines setting out our expectations and approval standards. One important step in that direction is likely to come before the end of this year when we issue a draft guidance on biomarker qualification. This will enable developers to gain a clear picture of the criteria the FDA will use to vet the usefulness of biomarkers in the evaluation of clinical trial data. We're also developing a draft guidance that will establish a regulatory pathway for co-development of new drugs and diagnostics so that new diagnostics can be used to shape clinical trials of new drug therapies. We look forward to working in close collaboration with Dr. Collins and his team at NIH to identify the knowledge gaps which may prevent us from making critical connections between a particular characteristic, a therapeutic intervention, and an outcome.